Hey all, here at OS Reviews. Today we're taking a look at a rather unusual gadget. This is the Aura Smart Sleeping Mask, and it actually has a companion app that you connect it to via Bluetooth for iOS or Android that plays back soothing sounds that help you fall asleep or meditate, and it also has a light on the inside, which will gradually get brighter in this instance to simulate the sun and wake you up without disturbing others around you, making it an interesting sleep travel companion, as well as something to use again just for relaxation purposes. And last but not least, there's also optional scent accessories that you can pick up, which claim to calm you down using essential oils such as lavender that we have here. So it's a multi-sensory type of gadget that uses kind of cognitive science research of both scent as well as sight and hearing, using those three to allow you to calm down, get more restful sleep. That being said, for the kind of novel concept, you are going to pay a bit of a premium. The package here actually retails for $200, which definitely isn't cheap, and it serves as an alternative to some other wellness-related gadgets that we have seen in the past, such as the Neuro Apollo. Clearly, it's in a different format. This one here is using haptic vibrations to try and calm you down and simulate the parasympathetic nervous system, but it also has similar claims of being used for meditation, as well as when you're having trouble sleeping. So competing in a similar space, but the Aura actually covers a few more senses. Could also be an interesting gift idea to consider for someone that seemingly has it all. It's a little bit of an unusual gadget, and they claim that it's comfortable enough to use even if you're sleeping on the side in terms of the weight as well as the thickness. It also has 7 days of battery life before you have to kind of recharge it again if you're using the sound as well as the light. And on the inside, we have just an internal compartment, again, quite well presented, that just says, "Embrace the night, empower your light." And then finally, we have the actual mask itself. There's also a separate little compartment that will house the USB Type-C cable for charging, as well as a quick user guide. It's a pretty simple neon Ziploc baggie, and the Type-C cable is actually pretty well constructed, made out of this pretty thick braided nylon texture as well as metal with the Aura logo. And then last but not least, again, that quick user guide. Now, interestingly enough, there are two ways of using the mask. There's a Zen mode, which will actually disable Bluetooth to consume even less power, simply playing back the last soothing sound effect that you set it to. However, if you connect it to the phone app, of course, you're able to customize more options, including the soundscapes even further, as well as set up the alarm, aka the wake up light function has to be controlled over there. But you can switch between those profiles just by tapping on the key over here, and the lights will flash accordingly. Otherwise, the power button is actually positioned on the front of the mask, and will serve double duty for also media controls, including play pause, as well as 2 times to skip tracks back and forth between the soundscapes that you set it to. And last but not least, there is a hug cushion that is pre-attached onto the mask that you can remove magnetically for washing, replacing, as well as snapping in the scent packs that we'll also see in a moment. So taking a closer look at the mask itself, it's constructed out of this neoprene material, and we have just the power key / media controls in the middle here. That's pretty tactile. And then up top here, we have just an LED light that will show you the Aura / Bluetooth mode profiles, as well as dedicated volume controls, and the Type-C port for charging, which are crafted out of rubber. And on the inside here, again, we have just a nylon Velcro strap that you can use to adjust the size when you're wearing it. Very comfortable memory foam cushions on the inside that are super well padded, but it's also where the stereo speakers are hiding. They're positioned pretty close when you're wearing it onto the side of your head, similar to kind of bone conduction headphones. You can still hear the sound pretty nicely, although someone that's sitting next to you will still hear maybe a slight trace, but it's not bad. We'll do a quick sound demo test later on, and then also the magnetic eyepiece here that you can remove, again, for replacing, washing, as well as underneath here, this is going to be that light strip. Now, because it is being worn over your face and it's super close, the effect that you're getting is actually quite similar, again, to something like a VR headset. Kind of. Obviously, it doesn't have as many pixels to speak of. It's just an LED strip, but when you're staring at it, it actually kind of seems larger in your face. It reminds me of looking up at an overcast sky that might be a little gray, but can turn into other subtle shades of blue, as well as more yellowish when it's waking you up in the mornings and getting gradually brighter. So it actually is kind of an interesting design going on there. And then we have just a little bit more branding info on the sides, along with even the neoprene Velcro here has the Aura logo on the edge, so not bad from a build and presentation perspective. And here we have the aforementioned Aroma Air Pack. So lavender seems to be the only scent option at the moment, so I do think what they can consider in the future is adding even more scented experiences. Comes in a pack of 3 that you can then purchase refills or try your own essential oils if you wanted to onto the fabric. And then we have to first press on the interesting pearls inside of the sack here to unleash the soothing aroma, and afterwards it should work for, I would say, a couple of sessions, maybe a week or so, before you have to swap it out again, or you can pop it into the bag to prolong the effect of the scent. So it claims it's made out of 100% therapeutic grade lavender essential oil from France, and pulling it out of the tray, aka resealable plastic bag, you have then just these pretty thin layers, again 3 of these which are included, but in the middle section is going to be the beads containing the scent inside. So then you can crush it. It just is a little bit thicker, as you can tell there, compared to the rest of the region. We can just set the scent pack here on top, and again, very slim on the other sides. The magnet can then be strong enough to just snap over it and hold the weight of this scent pack. And so the finished result will look something like this, actually holding itself into place without too many issues, and kind of clever because the scent region is right up against your nose. And as far as the wearing experience is concerned, I would say that the claim of total blackout is more or less true. So once you pop it on, it does block out pretty much all of the external surrounding light quite effectively. Again, the mask is rather lightweight and very soft in its texture, thankfully. So if you're just sitting onto a chair, if you're on a plane or a train, for example, or on even an office chair, you're able just to take a quick nap. In my testing, if I was generally just taking a quick nap, lying on my back, even sleeping in a normal posture, it didn't really shift around too much with the strap here properly attached. That being said, if you are a really turbulent sleeper and you're constantly tossing and turning, maybe in a future generation model, if they had an even more secure, maybe top strap, that could really just attach everything into place in those instances. But for the majority of times when I was waking up in the morning, I found myself still in the correct posture, the mask was still over my eyes, and I was able to kind of see the sunrise effect as intended. So pretty good in terms of general ergonomics, I would say. Now, as it turns on, you're able to hear the kind of speaker begin to play back some of the sounds.
Welcome to Aura.
And after a couple of seconds, it will then pair and connect with your device. It is simply called Aura, and you have to first, again, connect by Bluetooth to the mask. It just gives you a quote. Right now it's saying the best bridge between despair and hope is a good night's sleep. Down below here we have the first tab, which is to customize your routine on the mask. So basically creating your own dreamscape as well as meditationscape. So all 3 of these separate settings you're able to save and then repeat and use again in the future. So for example, in this particular playlist, I'm able to add different tracks that they have in their library, such as a rainforest sound, and then use a certain sound as the wake up alarm for the audible part in addition to the wake up light. I can then set the time down below here as well as activate the, again, glow functionality. Then if I'm satisfied, I can tap on start and it will kind of push it over to the mask, as you can tell there. So after it is ready, we can then tap on the front here once to basically begin the session. And as you can tell, it will then begin to play back, and I can swipe here on the app as well to end it, or tap on the mask once to pause it at any time in between. So here's a quick example. So as you can hear, you're able to just be surrounded a bit more with some of those nature sounds, white noise machine sounds that we have seen in some other sleep-type gadgets in the past. The volume level is also, I think, pretty satisfactory, especially even at the higher levels, you're able to drown out some of the maybe white noises that are happening around you, some background chatter, things like that, even though that doesn't have active noise cancellation per se, since it's just resting right outside of your canals, but still pretty effective for what it is, doesn't apply any pressure at least. It also tells you afterwards to check in how you felt during your sleep, so you can enter your mood versus an emoji, as well as enter a text if you wanted to, and look back on the app as kind of a sleep diary of sorts in terms of how well rested you feel. So for some quick power naps, as well as, again, if you are really feeling restless when you're sleeping in a hotel, somewhere outside, this could be something to consider. Now the next tab over is the sound key, and this allows you to customize and find even more tracks. They have a growing collection, aimed at different purposes, such as meditation, restful sleep, whale sounds, so on and so forth. You can find a lot of these different examples, even breathing. This will go through some more relaxing, calming sessions with an instructor that's basically telling you to breathe in, breathe out, and what to do and what to think about during those times. So a lot of those can be categorized under various genres, as you can tell, featuring even different artists as well as examples of playlists integrated into their app. But these are treated essentially as just Bluetooth headphones when you're being connected to your phone. So that means you could technically just play back any track, music, or even audiobook from your device, and it will still work in that way. But again, this is just curated a little bit more specifically for rest as well as mindfulness. ASMR as well, fall asleep instantly, tingling sensations, and other soundscapes as well to explore. So some other ones, white noise, include Typhoon Symphony, this one called Insect Serenade. Here's one which is thunder, forest sounds, waterfall sounds from around the world, Australia, Nepal, Indonesia, can all be found. Thailand, wind noises, so on and so forth. They are quite calming. And the final tab is basically your sleep diary, where you can take a look at the sessions that you used it in, the duration, as well as what you felt during those times. Now, maybe the only thing that I would have liked to see added from a functionality perspective would be some maybe biosensors that can track, let's say, your actual sleeping score or health. I only point that out because one of the other alternatives in this category would be these smart sleep buds from brands such as Anker Soundcore, the A20s that we reviewed recently as well, that also play back some white noises and acting as wireless headphones, but they can also track your light versus deep sleep duration time when it's being worn, using an accelerometer or motion sensor that is built on in as an alternative to wearing a smartwatch, which feels more intrusive if you're tossing and turning, for example. So if they can build that into the hardware here, I think it could be even more complete. Under advanced settings, you can also set up different sleeping times, and the app will give you a notification telling you should start winding down, kind of like a sedentary reminder on a smartwatch, but again for rest in this instance. You can also change the audio balance in terms of kind of the general volume level between the left and the right channels, as well as the glow brightness for the wake-up light, whether you want it to be brighter versus more gentle or medium, as well as check if there's any firmware updates to push over to the device over here. Now, coming back to the kind of soundscape setup page just one more time, you can again customize this by tapping on the three dots, and from here I'm able to add content by again essentially searching through the tracks that we saw there from earlier, and they will show the duration of those tracks as well based on again your preferences, and you can add them into your custom playlist for you to then use. So we can see that most of these tracks will range between 20 to 30 minutes, some which are a little bit longer, some which are slightly shorter, and that kind of sets you into the mood as you drift off into sleep. But because there is no, again, accelerometer, it doesn't necessarily know when you've actually entered sleep, so there isn't an intelligent mode that will stop playing maybe sooner if you've already entered the state, for example, which is why I do think adding that sensor could be quite beneficial. And then for the alarm, you can also choose other sounds as well that will, again, wake you up. Now I'm going to do one more demo over here. I've set an alarm to just ring pretty much 2 minutes from now, simply for the example of what the wake up light function is like. And now we have that wake up in action. We hear the soundtrack also change, as well as the light get gradually brighter, and the color temperature also shifting gradually towards more of a reddish, whitish shade until it reaches 100%. In the times that I tested it with, kind of wake up and feel a little bit more energized at the end. And here's one more example of what the sound quality is like, just by playing back a general track, a song at that. So you get the idea there. Overall, actually not bad. Comparable again to something like bone conduction headphones, as well as just TWS wireless buds. So that is more or less it as far as our quick hands-on review of the Aura Smart Sleeping Mask. And as a whole, I think it's a pretty clever concept just because it's playing with, again, multi-sensory experiences from scent to sight to hearing and combining it all into one with a pretty easy-to-use app. Some slight improvements I would like to see maybe in a next-gen revision would be additional colors for further customization, perhaps some type of optional strap for even more secureness for those that really want it, as well as some type of sleep tracking capability. But aside from that, I do think it's a, again, pretty novel idea, and if they can perhaps just lower the price a little bit, it could make it a actually very attractive option for those that find it difficult to fall asleep, as well as a travel companion kind of eye mask alarm that's personalized just for you, all rolled into one. So you can learn more details if interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Again, kind of an interesting category of smart health as well as smart sleep tech items that we're starting to see more of. That's been the Oura